guys, it's Kat. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, welcome. I'm glad to have you. And if you're coming back, thank you so much for coming back. So it's Thrifty Thursday, and today I went very simply with our 5-ingredient tomato soup and grilled cheese sandwiches. The 5 ingredients are butter, onion, tomato, water, and salt. And then you'll see I also have the bread and cheese out. So you just take the butter and you go ahead and melt that down in your pot. I don't even think that was probably a little less than half a stick. And then I was very unhappy with this onion. I just bought this onion today and it was not great. You can see there's some black stuff in it. I kind of had to work around that, and I think it was just dirt, but I was not the happiest camper when I got a hold of everything. But the recipe itself says to cut it into large chunks. I tend to cut mine into smaller pieces just because sometimes they'll get caught in my immersion blender if I don't. And it's easier to blend it up smaller so the kids don't realize that there's onions in it, because they both claim that they don't like onions, but they will both eat onions. So, like in this soup, they'll eat onions, and my almost 5-year-old enjoys the bloomin' onion from the Outback. So for as much as he complains about not liking onions, he will eat them. But this is a very, very simple recipe. I've shown it once before. This time, however, I am using diced tomatoes instead of the whole peeled tomatoes. And I will say I would just continue using the whole peeled tomatoes. The diced tomatoes, I mean, the taste wasn't different or anything. It just seemed like the diced tomatoes made a little less soup, if that makes sense. So once the butter's melted down, you throw the onion in it and you let them saute in it in the butter for a few minutes. And that's basically all that is that part of this step. This recipe is very, very simple. It's very quick to come together. It's just... it has to simmer for 40 minutes, and that's the longest part of this entire recipe. Okay, you just kind of stir the onions to make sure they're nice and coated. That's 1 cup of water. And then it's the entire can with the juices of the tomatoes. And then once that's all combined, I like to give it a pretty good stir. And then you bring it up to a simmer and you let it simmer for 45 minutes. I like to go ahead and put butter in the pan instead of buttering the bread when I make grilled cheese. I find that it just makes them taste a little bit better that way. And then this is just simmering in the back part of the oven. And here you just use an immersion blender if you have one and blend it up. You can do this in a regular blender as well. And here it is all plated up. Normally we would have a little bit of cheese on top, but we didn't have any this day. But that's what we had for Thrifty Thursday this week.